might as well have taken a nap because I'm sitting in front of the computer there. I was trying to open my eyes. Luckily I was at home today.
And I went over last week's class last night.
That's good, that's good. Bismillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So then, if you just went through it last night, then let's start with that. If you have any
One question
questions,
you don't mind.
Question is, I didn't understand when you were saying وَمَن يَقْنَطُ مِن رَحْمَةِ رَبِّهِ إِلَّا الضَّالُّونَ. You had said something about the ضَالُّونَ, and I wasn't exactly sure how it was a negative. You said it was a negative, right?
I said it's not positive.
It's not positive.
Because of two reasons. Whether it's negative, and this is not negative, obviously, but this is question.
It's a question.
So,
negative or question.
Or question, both negate the fact that this sentence is positive.
Okay.
Or
And
this
then,
exception is positive.
and who was the? So who?
وَمَن
was-
يَقْنَطُ
who was
means
the-
who like loses hope or who gives up from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Except إِلَّا الضَّالُّونَ, except the misguided people.
Okay.
That's the meaning of the sentence. So it's a question. Obviously, it's not a form. It's a rhetorical question. It's not a form of questions that waiting for answer. It's already answered.
Mhm.
But the form is question. Man means who in this
This is a question.
sentence.
And so technically, if we say La ilaha illallah ha, it is proper.
It's valid.
It is valid. And is that why was it ashhadu anna ashhadu anna, does it have to do anything with ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah?
No, because
That's
anna,
that's anna. That's
remember,
anna, right?
yeah, what anna does.
So illa, so if it's a negative, then we have to. It's not as easy to figure out. If it's straightforward, after illa, it's a mansub, right?
Yeah.
If it's a question, we have to look at whether
If
that
it's nafi means any tool of negating, like la, ma, those tools, then we could use both.
we should look at what subject.
We could,
what's
yeah, we
used as.
could use nasb, or we do the i'rab as badal. Badal means it's replacing something else in the sentence.
Mhm.
And in this case, it's al-mustathna, the accepted word, which we accepted from the verb or the action. It's replacing al-mustathna minhu, replacing the whole that we accepted some from, right? If we consider it this way, if we consider it mustathna, that's mansub, that's easy. If we consider it badal, we looked at the i'rab of this.
Mhm.
If the i'rab of mustathna minhu is mansub, then even badal will be mansub as well. But as I said, don't confuse yourself if you're initiating the speech. If you're reading, that's of course something you need to figure out.
Okay.
And my point was, or the main thing, obviously when you see illa or ghayr, the two words that are in the Quran, or siwa, or in the Sunnah, but you understand the meaning. That's our goal, first of all. But then when you see the harakah, now you know why. When you read in the Quran, sometimes you see it mansub and sometimes not, sometimes marfu'. And of course with ghayr, it's always majroor. So now you know the reason if you're reading.
Mhm.
So you see the dhamma and you see the fatha, and why both are the same, illa and word, but this word is mansub, this word is marfu'.
Mhm.
And were you able to differentiate between istithna tam and istithna naqis, the complete and incomplete istithna?
That was that I kind of understood.
Yeah,
well enough.
you just need to find out if the mustathna minhu is mentioned.
Is mentioned or not.
Yeah.
And then one other question was, there's sometimes the ghayr could be ghayri, ghayru. right?
Based on the i'rab.
Based
But
on the i'rab.
it has nothing to do with the istithna, with the exception.
And then if you can just really quickly go over uli versus ulul albab versus
Same thing. If it's so, some words are considered from something or added to something. So we call some words mulhaq بجمع المذكر السالم. What means mulhaq? Mulhaq means it's added to. Some words are not جمع مذكر سالم, but they added to جمع المذكر السالم, like ulu and banun. So ulu, we say ulu and uli. That's the rafa', we say ulu. Nasb and jar, we say uli. Same thing, banun, we say for the rafa', banin, nasb and jar. Okay? It's just, this is the sign of rafa' or the sign of nasb or the sign of jar. Waw or ya in ulu or uli. Okay? So today, inshallah, it's shorter. We have just 2 more, inshallah, lectures. We'll finish this text, and we will just be trying to do some conversation, just open conversation, and also more examples, Quran, and inshallah, I'm thinking today to go over a long hadith and try to understand it. So, the first chapter, the first topic we're going to talk about today is la. You guys remember la, we had 2 kinds of la before. We talked about la an-nafiya and la an-nahiya. You guys remember? That's old thing. La an-nahiya, when you forbid someone from doing something. La taqul means don't say. La taqum, la tadhhab, la tadkhul, la takhruj. I'm just given commands forbidding someone from doing something. Right? That's la an-nahiya. Because an-nahiya means coming from the verb naha, yanha. Yanha means forbids. Okay? This is la an-nahiya. And la an-nahiya, if you guys remember, what does it do? It's one of the jazm tools. They say la tadhhab. Originally it's تذهب, it's فعل مضارع. When I say لا تذهب, that's because لا is jazm tool. Then we talked about لا النافية. لا النافية means impossible, he doesn't do it. When I say, oh no, brother so and so, impossible, he doesn't do this. I say, هو لا يذهب, هو لا يأكل, هو لا يشرب. I'm not commanding anyone. I'm just saying the fact that he does not do this. So the nafiya means tanfi, means negating the verb. That no, the verb is not happening or does not happen. Okay? And both, if you notice, are followed by a verb. Both la. Today we have a third la. In the meaning, it's exactly similar to la an-nafiya. Okay, but this one is called la an-nafiya lil-jins. What does that mean? It's followed by a noun, not a verb. And it's negating the meaning. So for example, let's start with what he said first, and then he said انصب بلا منكرا متصلا من غير تنوين إذا أفردت لا. So this la, the new la, will be followed by a noun. And as he said, it should be munakkar, it's nakira. And when he said muttasila, that means it could be connected or disconnected from the la and the word after. They could be connected, means directly after each other, next to each other, or they could be separated by other words. We will see now, inshallah, examples will be more clear. So the first example he gave, لا إيمان للمرتاب. لا إيمان. So here's the word that's coming after la, iman. So as he said, insib bila. If this word is nakira, it is nakira. It doesn't have al. It's not added. It's not ma'rifah. Okay, so this word is, all the conditions are met. This word is mansub because of la. Okay, but this is noun. What's the meaning? La imana. There is no faith for who? The one who doubts, the one who have doubts, has no faith. So that's ومثله, and this is like very close to the ayah. He said the example لا ريب في الكتاب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. لا ريب. Why ريب, not ريب, not ريبي? Because of لا. So any word or any noun it must be noun. Any noun that is nakira, okay, and connected to la, one la is not repeated here. So if I said la imana wala, I add another noun. We'll see now more details. So if it's single la, the noun is nakira, they are connected. This noun must be mansub. Okay? In other words, when we say this noun is mansub, the work of la is applied here. In other cases, we will come over them. The work of la will be neglected, which is called ihmal. Ihmal means ignoring. So the work la could be muhmala, means could be ignored. Means the effect of la will be ignored completely, will not be applied. Okay? The other example, we said لا ريب في الكتاب. Then he said ويجب التكرار والإهمال لها إذا ما وقع انفصال. So now if it's repeated, tula, okay, and disconnected, we'll see the example. So what we do, ihmal, the work of la is nothing, as it is not there. I'rab wise, of course, meaning wise, we understand what's the meaning, but means opposite, negative. But I'rab wise, it will be neglected completely. So his example, لا في بكر شح ولا بخل إذا ما استقري, means there is no, Bakr is a name, so in that person, he has no, shuh and bukhl are synonyms of stinginess. So he has none of those. If he إذا ما استقري, if he's asked for given things to a guest, that's stuqri. The point from the example is here. You see shuhun and bukhlun. So la shuhun wa la bukhlun. Why? Because la here is disconnected from shuhun. You have words in the middle. That's why the work of la here is neglected. Both are marfu'. Okay? So who can think of an example from the Quran? Either or, any one of them. I'll help you with the second one, the harder one. Allah Ta'ala said, لا فيها غول غول. You see, it's not mansub. لا فيها غول ولا هم عنها ينزفون. Describing the situation of the khamr of Jannah. So And also the first one is used a lot. As we said just in the first example, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. So it's very easy in terms of those two situations. If it's just standard la, just single la and connected, then the noun after is mansub. Let's see now the third situation. وجاز إن تكررت متصلة إعمالها وأن تكون مهملة. Now, if it's repeated but connected, both repeated means I say, we'll see the example, it's easy. You can apply the work of la and you can neglect the work of la, both are valid. Whatever you want. Example, لا ضد لربنا ولا ند, means there is no one can be against Allah. Against means equivalent and against Allah. ولا ند, ند also equal to Allah. So you see ضد, ند, both are mansub. And by the way, when we apply the work of la, remember, من غير تنوين, there is no tanween. Even though this word is nakira, but because of the work of la, we have no tanween. But if the work of la is neglected, then we put the tanween back. Who can give me the other? And said, وَمَنْ يَأْتِ بِرَفْعٍ فَقْبَلْ. And whoever does rafa' to those words, accept it. It's valid. Who can give me the same example but with rafa'? لا ضد لربنا ولا ند.
So what we're doing is changing it to marfu without tanween.
No, we will put the tanween back. If the work of la is applied, no tanween.
Then no tanween.
If the work of la, if it's muhmala, means the work of la is neglected, then we put the tanween back.
لا لربنا ضد ولا.
Yeah, you just disconnected them, but keep them connected.
لا ضد
Yeah, لا ضد لربنا ولا ند. Yep, exactly. But meaning wise and linguistic wise, it's totally fine to disconnect. لا لربنا ضد ولا ند, that's also fine. If we say this one ضد, that's fine. And this one ند, also fine. So the first two situations you have no options. Third situation, it's up to you. You can apply the work of la or neglect the work of la.
The first example, la fi bakari, in that one it's takrar, but it's not muttasil, right?
It's disconnected.
Yes. Okay.
If it's
What's
disconnected,
yes.
you have to neglect the work of la. So let me write it here.
What's the opposite of muttasila? It's
Munfasila.
Munfasila.
So look what he said. ويجب التكرار والإهمال لها إذا ما وقع انفصال. There is انفصال. If it's منفصلة, repeated, then the work must be neglected.
That's a pretty rough word.
Yeah, many, by the way, same thing. When the la an-nafiya, when we put a verb after la an-nafiya, means so and so doesn't do this. When I say so and so لا يقرأ أبدا means he doesn't read at all. I said يقرأ. So in the Arab, we say this لا is مهملة, means it's neglected, doesn't do anything in the Arab. Meaning wise, of course it does, but in the Arab, it doesn't do anything, as if it's not there. So same thing here.
So it's not the la, this la is the one that will change the Iran, right?
So
this la specifically.
the first
That
one,
example.
the first one, this word must be mansub. The work of la must be applied. The second example, the work of la must be neglected. You have no options. The third example, you have the option. What's the difference between second and third? Second is muttasil and the third is munfasil. This is connected. The word, the noun after la and la are connected, and this one is disconnected. You have a word in between.
And the other two lams from before, the nahiya and nafia, those are also
With verbs, that's
Those are only
completely
verbs.
different.
Okay.
So this la, it's also la nafiya, but it's called nafiya lil jins, means there is noun after it will be negated. Notion, not a verb, not action. Okay? So three cases. The work of la must be applied. If it's single la and connected. And the second case, the work of la must be neglected if it's disconnected and repeated. And the third case, when it's connected and repeated, it's up to you. You can apply the work of la and you can neglect the work of la. And of course, applying means nasb and neglecting means you keep it marfu', back to normal, yes.
Yeah. I was trying to, can we write it on the board in such a way that we can have this
Okay.
same.
So here,
Yes.
Single la.
you want the whole thing, the work of la must
So
be.
that's it, yeah, single la plus connected,
Okay.
that means it's,
Okay, so
yeah.
that's the first case. Single la and connected.
Noun, connected noun, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And the noun comes right after.
Yeah. So the work of la must be applied. The second case, it is repeated. Repeated la and disconnected nouns, then the work of la must be neglected. And the third one, repeated and connected. La It's up to you now to apply the work or neglect the work. So next topic is very important, which is al-munada. تفضل.
I'm sorry. So the previous categories of la were called la nahiya and la nafiya. What is this one called again? This is category?
This is part of la an-nafiya,
Oh, it's part of it.
but it's called la an-nafiya lil-jins. Means
Jins.
it does not negate a verb, it does not negate an action. No, it negates a notion. That's why you have a noun after it. So it negates the noun. So instead of, for example, if we say أحمد لا يشرب الماء صباحا. Ahmed does not drink water in the morning. If I want to change, this is لا نافية, but نافية it negates an action because I said a verb. لا يشرب, لا يشرب. Okay. If it becomes, if I want to change it to jins, what shall I say? لا شرب للماء صباحا. Regardless of the corrupt meaning, but that's the sentence will be like this: no drinking of water in the morning. The difference between doesn't drink and no drinking. Same thing here. I can say لا يؤمن المرتاب, means the one who have doubts does not believe. I said does not believe. I didn't say there is no faith. But here, instead of saying لا يؤمن, that's a verb, I say لا إيمان, there is no iman. I negated the notion, not the action. Okay? So the other la, it's if you want to put it in this way, it's only two la. La nahiya and la nafiya. And this is part of la and nafiya. Okay? But with details, so we can say there are three la. So now al-munada. Al-munada is the one that you call. The one whom you call. So what's the i'rab of the munada? That's the importance of this. And also to understand the meaning that, oh, this noun is being called. There are tools for nida. To call someone, you have to use certain tools. The most famous one is ya. So you want to call someone, ya rajul, ya Muhammad, whatever. Okay, so that's the first tool. Yeah. Second tool is aya. Aya Muhammad, aya sahibi, same thing. So the third tool is haya. Another tool is just hamza. Say Muhammad. It's, of course, from the context you can't tell that you're calling him. Obviously the most famous one is ya, and the one that is commonly used is ya. Alaikum salam. Also, we can use nida, call someone with removing the tool. So we can call someone without tool if it's understood from the context. And so the most common two tools are ya and no tool. Because in the normal life, when you call someone, you say Muhammad, you're calling him, but you didn't mention any tool. It's correct, it's valid. Okay? So now there are 5 kinds of munada. Now we have those tools and we're going to call someone. Okay? Those 5 types of the one that we will call. The first one is al-mufrad al-alam. Mufrad, singular. Alam means it's a name of a person. Okay, or a city or a town. Alam means well-known name. So, a second type, ثم النكرة. Then the unspecified noun. And he said, أعني بها المقصودة المشتهرة. He means nakira, but you mean someone specified. You use a nakira term, but you mean someone exactly. So, we'll see the example inshallah, we'll clarify this point. So, you can use nida for 2 kinds of nakira. The first one is easy, that's a mufrad al-alam. Second one is nakira al-maqsuda al-mushtahira, means you have the intention to call someone, but you use a nakira term. Okay? The third type is nakira غير مقصودة. Nakira, but and you don't have any intention to call someone exactly. It's just general term. And the fourth type is al-mudaf. Mudaf means added to another word. And وَالْمُشَبَّهُ بِهِ means al-mushabbah bil-mudaf. We'll see inshallah example for both. فالأولان ابنهما بالضم. The first 2 types always will be مبني بالضم. أو ما ينوب عنه يا ذا الفهم. Or what takes the same ruling as a ضم, means واو if it's جمع مذكر سالم, ألف if it's مثنى. Okay, and this is بناء, it's not إعراب. So we'll say this is منادى مبني على الضم if it's singular. Okay. If I say, for example, Ya Harun, how shall I pronounce it? What's the Arab? How the last letter of Ya Harunu? Why? Because it's singular alam. If I say Ya, shall I say Muslimun or Muslimin? If I'm talking to you guys, shall I say Ya Muslimun or Ya Muslimin? Why?
Just like
It's nakira. The phrase in itself is nakira, but I mean something, right? Al-maqsuda al-mushtahira means it's understood that I'm talking to you. You guys understood. And I mean by saying Ya Muslimun that I have the intention I'm talking to you, and I'm not saying just general term. Okay? So, those 2, and here we saw Muslimun, why it's waw. So it's same thing, mabni ala al-waw. We say this mabni, and the sign mabni ala al-waw, as Ya Harun mabni ala al-dhamm. And the Quran, you find this, especially the first type, a lot. Ya Ibrahimu, Ya Maryamu. And in Surah Yusuf, you can see the example of no tool. Yusuf أعرض عن هذا. When the Aziz was talking to Yusuf after he found out that his wife was guilty, he said, he called Yusuf without using any tool of nida. He said, Yusuf أعرض عن هذا. Okay? Yusuf will just forget what happened, ignore it. So, then, النكرة الغير مقصودة. So let's see his example first. He said فالأولان ابنهما بالضم أو ما ينوب عنه يا ذا الفهم. Those 2, العلم المفرد النكرة المقصودة will have dhamm all the time. Okay? تقول يا شيخ ويا زهير. If you're talking to someone, and shaykh is nakira, right? Shaykh is nakira. But if your intention that to talk to someone specifically, then you say ya shaykh, even though it's nakira. But if you don't have if you're not specifying someone, then it can be, what's the rest? The three other types. وَالْبَاقِ انْصِبَنَّهُ لَا غَيْرُ. The rest are mansub. So only two types will be mabni ala dhamm. Of course, dhamm or waw or alif if it's jam'u dhakar salim or muthanna. But let's talk about dhamm as standard. Okay? So the first two types, mabni ala dhamm, the rest is mansub. What is the rest? Now nakira, unspecified nakira, nakira that you don't mean anything about it. You say, for example, Ya aliman. You're just mentioning general term. General term and unspecified. You don't have the intention. Okay? And that's a very good point. Now when we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we say? We say, Ya Sami'u Ya Alim. Sami' and Alim, nakira words, nakira nouns. But why we use dhamm? Because it's maqsuda mushtahira. Means we know that we're talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're doing dua, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you say, Ya Sami'u Ya Alim. Ya Sami'u Ya Alim.
Can you give the definition again of which one means specific? Al-maqsood.
Al-maqsooda means the specified nakira. The phrase is nakira, but from the context or in your hearts,
Yes.
you mean one exactly.
So al-maqsood al-mushtahira means.
Mushtahira means famous.
Oh, okay. So known.
Well known, yeah.
Known. And maqsoodata means actually what?
Maqsooda means intended.
Intended.
That's maqsooda. You had the intention, so it is intended.
And so those two words combined really mean specific.
Yeah, specific nakira, specified nakira. And then ثم تضد هذه, and then the opposite of this, that's the third type, which is nakira unspecified. Okay, now nakira just general term. The fourth type is al-mudaf. Now when I call the word sahib, is it nakira or ma'rifah? It's nakira, sahib alone. But when I say forget la. When I say sahibul bayti, now it's what? It's ma'rifah because it's added. Al-bayt is ma'rifah and sahib is added to it. So sahibul bayti now is added, and that's the fourth type. I should say Ya sahibal bayti. We said only the first two types will have dhamma. The rest will be mansub. All the rest. Okay? So I say Ya sahib al bayti. Ya rabb al alameen. Same thing, because it's added to. Rabb is nakira, but when it's added, now we use the rest, the mansub. Okay? Ya rabb al alameen. Who can give me another example? Just call and add. There's an easy way by using kunya of someone. Kunya means when you say Abu so and so. But now if you, because Abu Muhammad, for example, now this is mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Because Muhammad is a alam, ism alam, it's a name, it's ma'rifah. And Abu is nakira. When you add Abu to nakira, that's mudaf and mudaf ilayh. So when you use now, it will be mansub. How we call someone? How can we call Abu Muhammad?
Ya Abul Qasim.
Ya Abul Qasim, same thing for Abu Muhammad.
Abba.
Ya Aba Muhammad. Why? Because it's mudaf and mudaf ilayh. So the munada, the first word, it's mudaf. Now the fifth type, والمشبه به. We have a notion that something looks like mudaf ilayh. It's not actual mudaf and mudaf ilayh, but we understand from the meaning it is mudaf and mudaf ilayh. Example of that, when we say Ya sami'an likulli najwa. Sami'a means the one who hears. Likulli najwa, who hears all calling, all private calling. So there is no mudaf and mudaf ilayh, obviously, but we understand from the context that it looks like this is mushabbah bil mudaf ilayh, because the meaning is complete with the whole thing, right? When I say Ya qari'an lil kutubi, Ya qari'an lil kutubi, why did I consider this mansub? If I'm talking to that's a good example. We'll take it with different intentions. Okay?
Is it also because with mudaf ilayh, these are usually isms in this case?
Or even it's an ism, but it's ism fa'al.
Yes, it's a, you're using a verb and then you're using.
It's not verb.
Oh,
It's
oh,
ism also. It's
oh,
ism fa'al.
oh,
You remember ism fa'al?
Oh,
It's noun, but indicating to an action. But it's still ism. Okay? Munada must be ism. You cannot call a verb. You have to call a noun. Okay? So, if I say, for example, if I'm talking to Harun, and we all know that, mashallah, Harun spends 10 hours a day reading. So, inshallah, if I call him and I say, Ya qari'un, then it's, despite the fact that qari' is a nakira, but it's maqsuda, mushtahir. I mean, it's well known, it's understood that I'm talking to Harun. That's why I used qari'un, so it's mabni ala dhamm. But if I just say general term to all people, I say Ya qari'an. Why? Because now it's nakira, غير مقصودة. Okay? If I say now, Ya qari'an lil kutubi, now it is mushabbah bil mudaf ilayh. It looks like the mudaf ilayh. If I say Ya qari al kutubi, now it's mudaf and mudaf ilayh. And look at all the cases we have tanween, except when then we have mudaf and mudaf ilayh, we cannot have tanween. Because you guys remember the three conditions of having tanween, right? No al, no mudaf and mudaf ilayh, and it's not mamnu' min as-sarf. So whenever we have mudaf and mudaf ilayh, we cannot use tanween. So what you need to focus on is the first two types. That's it, because the rest is mansub. If you master the first two types, any calling with any other type, then it is mansub. Okay? تفضل.
So there's five categories, right? So
Yeah.
the first one is
Let me write them here. So
مفرد العلم.
the first one is al-alam, al-mufrad. Okay? Then al-nakira, المقصودة. Then النكرة غير المقصودة. What's the إعراب في المقصودة here? Who can? Exactly. So you see, because he just saw the lecture yesterday. النكرة غير المقصودة. And of course, النكرة, that's مبتدأ. غير, that's خبر. And مضاف, and مقصودة مضاف إليه.
Nakara and غير مقصودة means the same thing, right? Because
No,
غير مقصودة.
it's not the same thing, because the first one, النكرة المقصودة. The phrase is nakira, but someone exactly was intended by this calling. And here, it's the original meaning of nakira. You're right, in this sense you're right, but this is the original understanding from the nakira, that is unspecified. But this is a special case of the nakira. Then al-mudaf. Then al-mushabbah. Also, who can give me the i'rab of this? Yeah, and the first word, it's ha, it's not ta. Al-mushabbahu bil-mudafi. So what's the i'rab? Who can? That's the good i'rab in terms of tashkil, but what's the i'rab means? What's this word? It's a noun in the beginning, just like this one. It's mubtada, right? So al-mushabbahu, mubtada. Then what's this? Bil-mudafi. Ba harf jar, and al-mudaf ism majroor. And we say al-jar wal-majroor in the place of khabar. All of them together, harf al-jar and ism majroor together, are in the place of khabar marfu'. Because they made the sentence complete, right? It's just a quick review. Okay, so those are the 5 types. Let me write examples now. The first one, Ya Maryamu. Okay. Ya Ibrahim. And even if we don't have, as the example I said, without without nida tool, but it's understood that you're calling someone, as in the Quran, Yusufu. Then, al-nakira al-maqsuda, as his example, Ya shaykhu. So if you hear someone saying to another person, Ya shaykhu, means that he's talking to him specifically. This is nakira maqsuda. The phrase, the noun shaykh in itself is nakira. But in that use, specifically, it was known he's talking to this person. Ya shaykhu. We say, Ya sami'u. يا بصير يا عليم. Okay. Now نكرة غير المقصودة. You're just saying general terms. يا قارئا يا عالما. Okay. Now, and remember those two types مبني على الضم. Those two مبني على الضم أو ما ينوب عن الضم means or anything in the حكم of ضم in the same it means واو or ألف. Okay? I say يا شيخان. We're talking to two people. يا شيخان. It's not ضم now, it's مبني على الألف. Okay? And the rest is here. Let me write some examples. So who can give me مضاف مضاف منادى?
Example, you can صاحب.
What else?
شيخ الحديث.
شيخ الحديث. Exactly. يا شيخة. Now it's منصوب. If it's added, exactly. Good example. We say يا شيخ, but if we add it, if it became مضاف, we say يا شيخ الحديث. Got it?
So
Those three are منصوب. We say يا شيخ, that's correct. But if this word becomes مضاف, it will be here. It will be يا شيخ الحديث.
and this is only when we're calling them.
Yeah.
Like if we're describing this person,
Based
he's
on the
Shaykh
location,
al-Hadith.
yeah,
He's
they-
Shaykh al-Hadith, but if we're calling him,
Yeah, of
he's
course.
Shaykh al-Hadith.
Of course. If you're starting the sentence talking about someone, so you say شيخ الحديث. Yeah, of course. What we are discussing here is the nida.
Yeah.
When it's after one of those tools, even if there is no tool, but it's understood that this is nida. So here. يا شيخ الحديث. Another example. We say يا رب العالمين. Right? We say يا رب البيت. Rabb means the one who takes care of. So when we say يا رب البيت, it could be I'm just talking to the father of that house.
يا أكرم الأكرمين.
That's also
أشهد أن لا إله إلا